Back again with another video. This one bringing you back. So, this one has update of the new cards, of how I will play Cell in 2025. But without further ado, let's get on to the list and show you some cool interactions at the end. But let's get through the list first. Got the base framework of it, which is the Metamorphosis, which is a new linchpin of the deck. We added this card. I like to make this like a de facto of all my Cell lists now. First, it was just in like here for like the Bardock sacking combos because it has barrier and it's a stick. But amongst that, it grabs either this, which searches my whole deck, or this, which is important. The fact that it can get 6 or less, which is 99% of my Android cards, is important. We cut this back to 2 because this used to be at 4, and this used to be at 2, but I think 4 is necessary when it searches a value search more than draw. But this is necessary just if you want to do the cool turn 2 going second awaken. Otherwise, it would be cut, but it's just certain matchups you want to awaken as fast as possible. Then we got the Blitz. That's to make up for that drop in 2. But this is a good early game defense as well as builds energy. Same with Chrysalis, but for the most part, we want to have it in our deck. And if we draw too many, we put them back with Saiyaman, which this is at 4 life super combo. But I don't really go down to 4 unless it's absolutely necessary most times. So my strategy, like turn after turn 3. Then we got a split. This used to be at 4, but I want to incorporate surprise because it kind of complemented my strategy of what I want to do. And for the most part, you want to pressure with crit. Then we got 3 cells, 2 homicidals, 2 dormant potentials. Main deck, I didn't feel like I needed the 4 for 90% of my matchups. Faded because it gets us back our Saiyans in the deck. Give them dual utilities where they're combo them off for charging. Cooler Armed is more widely accessible, so I think more people should be playing it because this used to be like one of the best staples in green, but it was kind of gate kept by price point. Now that's not a factor, I think most green players should incorporate this in the green decks. A lot of cool interactions around this card, and that to say, having the 5 drops of Zamasu, which I debated on playing in here. If red wasn't as prevalent, this would be Zamasu. Still might work his way into the sideboard, but since barrier is, in my opinion, better than indestructible with how much red is going around, that's why this got back into the slots of where Zamasu used to be, or this style of deck. Then we got SS2 Gohan, kind of like sorry for hitting charismatic villain. So this kind of like the replacement in a way, as well as better pressure. And I'll take that. Then we got our Leighton, which 2 is enough because I can recycle it with Faded Rivals, like I said before. As well as this is kind of like the dual side of a coin of our other boss, which we'll talk about later. Kaioken, just standard for green hand control. And this hand control to the max. This is the other side of the coin I alluded to just a few moments ago. This one is a more hand control as well as barrier removal. I run a 2-2 split. I don't really do the 4 thing. I got a lot of 2-ups in this because I made this more of like a decision based toolbox deck versus a super duper streamline, because like most people can like infer and anticipate like your usual plays in a standard spell deck, so I just want to branch out and give more lines and more depth to the deck. That's why I got a lot of 2-of and a lot of these power cards in here. But it just reflects that your player, your skill as a player. Then we got our 1-ofs, our 6 power 1-ofs, the double strike, which juices all like androids when they're attacking. Complete terror. I've been floating in between 1 and 2 of these, but 1 seemed to be alright. And then our fire combo, which is also a negate regeneration to the perf for itself. Everybody should know that combo, but if not, I'll explain it a little bit later. Dark Temptation, just more hand control, and just to keep them at a low balance. And Cell Xenon, I've been floating between this and Bursting Rage, but for most, this is more accessible, and I can pump out a lot of 6 drops easy. I can play this for 0 energy, but also keep in mind there's errata, or it used to be quad strike guaranteed, but you have to have 5 or more energy for that. That's the errata. So in order to get the full effect, you gotta have 5 energy, but getting the 5 for energy is pretty easy for green. But after that, like I said before, it gets hard to maintain the game. I say the first 3 to 5 turns, green should be in control. But going on to the Z deck, we got a variety here. Not too much to know. I'm not running Mighty Blast, it's the thing that sticks up. But I run this over Mighty Blast because my deck is centered around critting for the first 3 to 4 turns, which a lot of people defend with blockers, so we punish them for that and attack the hand on its back end. Then we got Burly Tyrant, which comes in play with a combo. Same with Frieza, Jiren, and my Z leader. This has been floating in and out depending if I wanted to use bursting range S here, but this still pretty value against them Winnie Rush low swing decks. I can just go into this early and have a 5k boost for protection. Also be able to use activate battle to get a free cell man out my hand and just target their hand, which cell you get to pick with the cell command man. This is sublative. I don't go into it too often. It's usually for the cooler mill matchup where I don't really want to play a lot of battle cards and I just want to just unison focus and just rip the hand and rip the card advantage and field advantage. Side deck's pretty straightforward. More damage for more aggressive matchups that try to push out like 6 to 10 swings in the first 3 turns. The Dark Power, just the side to their side, because they're going to side the Boros. And if they playing green, Legend Extermination, so just a counter to their counter. This for blue, and this just for anything, and kind of helps my hand control. Don't forget to start your turns off with Kosakai, people. I just see so many games they set the Kosakai up and they don't use it, or use it halfway through the turn. which is crazy to me. Just for those guys that like the visual view, there you go. A lot of cool plays centered around this. With the Z battle cards, after you metamorphosis, you can sack that off for a Tyrant Broly. That's why we run it 2. So give the cooler its second effect, which is to be able to stand back up and trigger its auto again, which is not once per turn. That's another cool interaction. Directed Generation is like your turn 5. If you have this, which you should, and be able to stack, since everything is, all your androids is pretty much searchable in your deck, plays from underneath, and then drop the hand at 3, and then if this is not on the field or any one of your mini 5 drops, you go into Cell Xeno, which is 12, because 7 plus 5 is 12. Or if you don't have that, you can just do the traditional 8 and 4. Just to conclude the hand to 0. Here go my 4 drops. Or 2 6s. 2 6s are good. Which I have many routes to 6. But that is the numbers game on net. Hope we've learned something about Cell. It's kind of my technical list that I've been testing in the backgrounds. Been floating my numbers. It was like a 3-1 split with this, but I bumped it up to 2. I think 2 and 2 is not bad, especially if I want to be very aggressive on that. So I added another 18 blitz just for the situation, and like I can use multiple of these a turn because of this, or any of my scenes. But that's been this short video. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you understood the combos and just want to experiment on your own. It's been my Cell list, and I'll catch y'all later.